Deep Dive Wellness, the place you want to be if you want to be empowered, inspired, and educated to be the healthiest version of yourself. Today, I want to talk about how to prevent hangover. We are going to be partying Tuesday night, and I want to share my best tips to help you prevent having the symptoms of hangover. So we well know that hangover causes headaches and dry skin, dry mouth, excessive thirst, crankiness the next day, feeling like crap basically. So I have tried over time, not that I'm a big drinker, a bunch of things, and I know that as a functional medicine practitioner, I like to educate my client about what can work to help the body detoxify and get rid of all this alcohol and toxins that we're bringing on board when we do such partying, right? So I'm going to bring on board a few tips. But before I do this, I want to tell you that the recommendations that I'm going to show on the videos, right, such as supplements, I want to make sure that I am not telling you to take any of the supplements. I don't work for any of the companies. I really encourage you to share any ideas of you taking any of the supplements I might present on these videos with your practitioner, with your doctors, because supplements are serious and they are not so simple as people want to think, right? So my disclaimer is I am not telling you to take any of the supplements that I'm going to present on these videos. This being said, I'm going to start with my first tip. First is important to understand that dehydration is also coming not with just water, but we also lose electrolytes, right? So electrolytes can be supplemented. If we are at home and we have nothing, we can use a little bit of Himalayan salt, like a pinch of Himalayan salt will work in the water. Or you can do baking soda, like a half a teaspoon of baking soda also can work. Stir it into the water and drink it. The best thing to do on that day on Tuesday is to actually keep hydrating all day long. And what I mean by that is to sip on water all day long, small amounts with your electrolytes in it, right? So you can do basic water, avoid the carbonated water, they're not as hydrating. And then you can add things like Ultima Replenisher, right? Ultima Replenisher, you can get it online on Amazon. And then this is a great way to add electrolytes in your water to make sure you bring on board what you are going to deplete at night when you'll be doing your big drinking, right? Another thing that I like to use personally is something called Trace Mineral. Trace Mineral is also, you can add a few drops into your water and then you will see that it's going to help you keep everything in balance into your body and all your electrolytes will be okay. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is going to maximize detoxification. We know that when we bring on board crap, whether it is from crap food or alcohol, we're going to ask the liver to do a lot of work. So we want to support the liver. The way the body detoxifies is by three ways. It's excretion of the bowel movement, right? The poop, pee, urinate, and then we're talking about also sweating. So sweating is a great way to detoxify. So you can do it either by going to a scorching yoga class the next morning or the night before. You'll make sure you unload your toxins before. You can also sweat at the gym, on the elliptical. You can also choose to do infrared sauna. I'm a big fan of infrared sauna. You can go to a wellness center where they will offer sessions of infrared sauna. You can do 15 minutes. You always want to start very slow and be educated on what to do and not to do to prepare for a detoxification in an infrared sauna. This is not without any recommendation. It's not for everybody. Detoxification is hard on the body and you want to make sure you're ready for it, you've prepared your body, you're well hydrated, and so make sure you do the research before you get engaged in such activity. Some people like the saunas that you can get transportable, you can get online, you can order one. It's basically a place where you sit on a chair and you get this like some sort of a tent, boxy tent that you put around your body, and you'll be zipping it up, and all you have is your little head popping up, and then you just start having all this heat inside, and you detoxify, right? So that's another option. For the people who don't have access to any of the saunas, you can still do one of my other favorite one is Epsom salt bath. This can be done the next day after you've been drinking. I also advise people to be educated when they do this, because it's very detoxifying. So magnesium is very helpful because it's going to help you relax, but it's also important to understand that in the Epsom salt we have sulfur, and sulfur is actually going to pull out of your toxins, and so you want to make sure your body's prepared for it. And if you are not ready, and if your pathways of detoxification are not optimal, what can happen is you can experience symptoms of over detoxification, where basically you're asking your body to pull out of these toxins, but your body's not able to excrete them, and so they are being recycled into your body. And then this can result in very unpleasant symptoms, actually debilitating, and then very, very, very not fun, right? So if you are going to try the Epsom salt bath, I would think that the best way to do it is like anything, slow and low. Maybe a quarter cup of Epsom salt and put into a big bath and soak for about 20 minutes. Make sure you don't get the Epsom salt that are enhanced with any type of fragrance, because they are usually synthetic fragrance, which would add up to your toxins, right? So we don't want to do that. Rather, just use a few drops of your favorite essential oils, and then you're ready to go. So that's for the detoxification. Another thing that we want to support in terms of detoxification is bring on board elements and substances that will maximize something called glutathione. Glutathione is actually the most powerful antioxidant we have in the body, and it's also playing a big role when it comes to detoxifications. So it helps the liver detoxify any of the crap that we bring on board. One of the things that people don't realize is oftentimes when we have a party at night and we drink a lot, we go for this like super duper breakfast in the morning, and somehow it makes us feel great, right? It's almost like a cure to the drinking. And the reason for that is because we often eat food such as eggs who have cysteine in it, and cysteine is actually promoting the synthesis of glutathione, which will promote detoxification. But another easy way that you can promote more glutathione is by taking something called NAC, which is actually from that company Thorne. I mean, there are other ones. I trust Thorne. Thorne is a great company that does excellent supplements without any crap in it. NAC is actually given to people who have overdose of acetaminophen, things like Tylenol, which many people actually wind up having this kind of toxicity in their bodies when they take too much of it. And when they go to the hospital, they are being given usually injectable of NAC, and that makes them feel better because that pushes the detoxification by increasing glutathione. So one of the things I do is if I know I'm going to be drinking, I'll take a NAC while I'm doing my drinking or previously to doing my drinking, so I make sure that it's going to be helping me detoxify the alcohol. Another thing you can do also, and it's related to the GI tract. So in the GI tract, I like to take things like that are binding my toxins. So on top of the crab food, and then we put alcohol, and then when we try to excrete it, it's a good way to do escort those toxins out is to take a binder. So I personally like charcoal, but I also like a product called GI Detox, which has a bunch of supplements in one formula, which you can take. I like to take it at night before I go to bed, so this way it doesn't bind all the good stuff that I might be providing my body while drinking or my smoothies, or bringing on board the nutrients and the minerals and the vitamins that my body needs. So if I take it at night outside the meals, then I don't have the risk of binding the good stuff, right? So I'll take it just before the bed. Another thing that I like to take is also called Pectasol C. This is citrus pectin, it's concentrated, and again, it's the same idea, is to bind the toxins in your GI and so they can be excreted. Which, by the way, reminds me to tell you that you must poop, because if you don't poop, then all these toxins that we're trying to gather into those binders are going to not go out, and they're going to be reabsorbed into the body, which makes you even more toxic and creates a whole big bunch of inflammation. So make sure you poop. And if you're not pooping, one of the magnesium that works for this is magnesium citrate. There are a lot of magnesium outside that are being used for different purposes in the body, but magnesium citrate is the best one and you can take if you're constipated. Again, make sure you verify with your practitioner or your doctors that you can actually take this safely. Some people actually cannot and should not take magnesium, so make sure you just get educated before engaging any type of supplements in your body. So that's for the part of detoxifying and helping supporting detoxification and excreting the toxins out of your body. The last tips I want to have for you is regarding the sleep. Oftentimes people wind up having very bad night's sleep when they drink too much alcohol. And this is because alcohol actually affects our neurotransmitters. There are two neurotransmitters that are actually very involved into alcohol. And one is GABA and the other one is glutamate, and they are both opposite. So GABA is the good guy who makes you feel good when you drink alcohol, and he's the one responsible for you falling asleep really well when you have been partying, right? You get into the bed and your head hits the pillow and you sleep, right? And it's wonderful. But then oftentimes what happened in the middle of the night, we wound up awakened, and this is because glutamate is actually going to take over. So we have a GABA reduction after a while, and it's going to be overwhelmed, if you prefer, with the glutamate. So glutamate is going to go up and take over GABA, and that's why we wake up, because glutamate actually creates excitation in the body and makes us awake. So a good way to rebalance this and bring back on board the right amount of GABA so you're not awake all night is actually, before you go to bed, on top of drinking your 2 glasses of water with the trace mineral and then with some electrolytes, taking your GI detox, what you can do is take 1,000 milligrams of taurine. And this is actually an amino acid that will help rebalance GABA and glutamate so that you can have a nice night of sleep, right? Okay, so those are my tips. And of course, make sure you choose drinks that are not so sugary. Be smart about your drinking. If you're drinking alcohol, avoid the creamy ones, the super sweet ones, and stick to clean alcohol like vodka with sparkling water and a splash of lime or something like this, right? I think there's a company also called Dry Wine Farm who also provide you with some great wines that are free of all kind of product that they put in the wine to preserve it, and sulfite and things like that are often also adding to the load of toxicity that we have in the body. So you can check them out. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the tips, and make sure that you verify that the supplements I have presented on these videos are good for you by sharing these ideas with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling anybody to take any supplements. I'm just here to educate, empower, and motivate people to be the healthiest version of themselves. Okay, so enjoy your day, enjoy your New Year's Eve, and I'll talk to you another time for the next video. Thank you.